All right, I have Cami here today, and I wanted to bring her on because she's been able to get some positive responses and results when it comes to recruiting and people being interested in learning more about the business and moving forward. And this is while Cami, due to her personal situation, has been in really intense isolation. And so I just wanted to bring her on to encourage you to let you know what is working, actually working right now today when it comes to talking about business opportunity. So Cami, thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show. I guess.
Of course, happy to be here as
Uh,
always.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, like your family and all that, just so people can connect with you, and then we can get into
All right, I might have to change my Wi-Fi too, so if it gets a little spotty, I'll be back.
okay.
Um,
And also, I have the security guy here, so if the security goes off, we're just going to keep rolling, and I'm not going to edit.
there we go. All right, I'm on the right one. Sorry,
Right.
it keeps defaulting
That's okay.
to funky ones.
So first thing we need to know about you is your internet's bad.
Yes, internet has been a struggle with everybody home. Am I right?
Yes.
Like Xbox pulls a lot of Wi-Fi. I have learned this in quarantine. So I am a mother of three. I have a rising junior in college, my daughter, who's actually life has been upended. So she's going to be staying home for the fall, which was literally we expected her to be living on campus all summer with a full-time job, and like none of that happened. So she's home unexpectedly. We have our middle son just graduated high school. They did have an in-person ceremony last week. We were really grateful for, but he also has special needs. So he's on the autism spectrum and he's got some chronic medical issues. So it's been a little concerning and dicey at home during this. And also from a school perspective, because he just needs such different supports. So it's been a lot more hands-on than we've been used to for many years. And it looks like that's going to be the way it's going to be in the fall too.
Right.
So, and then we have a younger son who just finished up 8th grade. So he's a rising freshman. So he's going to be starting high school in this funky world that we're in. So, and my husband is a teacher. So his life is upended. And he's still not exactly sure what's going to be happening in the fall for him and his students. So that it has been, incredibly interesting. I think one thing we learned though, is that we really do like each other. Like as a family unit, we don't always get along. I'm not saying that's like as all sunshine and rainbows and unicorns at my house, because there have been some rough stuff. But at the end of the day, I think we really like each other. So that has made things easier than I anticipated. Like if you had told me in February that my family was going to be like together for 6 months straight and just staring at each other and every meal together. And, I would have been like, wow, this is going to be bad. Like I'm going to be more gray than I already am, and it's been way more enjoyable than I expected it to be.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that. So let's talk about recruiting. What did recruiting, so this is fairly recent, right? Maybe the last month.
Yeah, literally last July.
Wins. Okay. So what was recruiting like before in your business? And maybe could you tell us a little bit about why you think that is?
So since you asked me to do this, I've been trying to really process and think, right? Like think back, because now I've been doing this business for 4 years. So I think my pattern has been that I like to keep things a secret. I'm like the best kept secret keeper. And then all of a sudden I realize I'm keeping it a secret, and that's dumb. And I should probably not do that anymore. So I did that with the oils. I secretly used them and didn't really told like my family and like close friends, but I wasn't like out there about it. And then all of a sudden I was like, why am I not telling people about this awesome stuff? And I feel the same way about the business, that I had all the training, right? I mean, I took your courses and I knew what I was supposed to do and I had the scripts, but there was this part of me that just kept it secret. Probably confidence, maybe feeling weird, like just like you get into sales and you're like, but I'm not a salesperson. I'm not salesy. I don't want to feel
Sure.
icky. Like, am feeling around recruiting. Like you don't want to be that like network marketer that's like, come build a business with me and we're going to make you millions of dollars. Like that kind of weird, kind of not like disingenuous feeling.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was the same as when I started my business and started in the sales portion, was that I just had to set my mind that like I needed to do it. I needed to practice. I needed to continually say this. And so I literally in July, I said after every single class, I am going to offer the business opportunity. Like I'm actually going to talk about it. And no matter how uncomfortable I am just going to talk about it. And what was crazy is after 4 years of doing this business, I had so much gold in my own organization, like not new people, like people who have been there all this time that were like, well, wait a second, I already share with all my friends and family, like this might work for me, right? Like those,
Right.
and I realized honestly that I was not doing anybody, I was doing a disservice to like my whole organization, from myself personally to my own team, my builders, because like it or not, when you lead a team, they look to you to lead and they will follow your lead. And so they were following my lead with recruiting too, or the lack thereof.
Keep a secret.
Keep it a secret. Like, and especially in this time, I started to feel really like I was making like a terrible ethical decision by not telling people, because people are struggling financially.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a get rich quick situation, but I was messaging with somebody today and I said, I built to my current rank working full time with 3 kids at home, one who has special needs, right? I did that. I was able to leave my job now, but like I built to my current rank with all that stuff. And I look back and I'm like, it should have been harder. It should have been harder to replace my income.
Yeah. And tell us what your
was.
job was before, because I feel like this is relevant.
Oh yeah. So I'm a nurse. I'm still a nurse. I'll always be a nurse, but I was a nurse and I was working, full time, direct patient care. And I was able to leave in November. And that's been a huge blessing that I'm home, not just from the fear of like being at the bedside, like direct patient care in this environment that we're in right now, but even from my kids and they're like, who knows what's going to happen with school situation. Like I'm in such a place of gratitude that I feel like I'm home. I wasn't able to be home when my kids were little. I've always worked out of the home. And so I was never that stay-at-home mom. I worked night shift. Yeah. I was exhausted all the time. Wow. But now I'm like, wow, I can actually be home. And maybe this is the more important time right now because so much is up in the air.
Yeah.
That if they like go to school part-time, but then the school closes and they're back home. Like either way, I'm the constant, like I'm home and I can still run awesome. My business,
That's great. So I'm trying to think of what questions people would be having as they hear that. So first of all, can you, I know you do have some results that you track because you have a mean coach. So can you just share that? And then actually, I'm sure people are like, okay, but what are you actually saying?
Right. So we've been able to taproot in my organization 15 people who are interested in the business now. I know I talked to you, it was lower than that, but I'm still getting more responses. So I pulled off the Band-Aid and I reached out to people who had kind of maybe been active at one point, but maybe disengaged because life happens, right? So I was like, I just need to kind of know where everybody is. So I did that. So there's a group of people that are re-engaging. I think because my energy has shifted, they're like, yes, I'm willing to follow you, right? So they're re-engaging. And then there was also those people who maybe, because really what recruiting was in the beginning was like hoping people would come to me.
Yeah.
Like they're just going to see what I post on social media and they're just going to call me and say, I want to make money with doTERRA, right? Just like when you post with that like first bottle of oil and you're like, now everybody's going to order it because I posted a picture of it on social media. It felt very much the same. And so now, those people were like, oh wait, that might really work for me. And then, so everybody's in flow right now, everybody some point of the recruiting process. And so getting ready to launch, but it's so much more fun to be in a place where there's like 15 people that I'm in process with, as opposed to like that one that
Right.
they're my everything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. So what did you say exactly? I mean, I don't think you probably have it exactly, but can you give us the gist of the actual, like if you called me, did you call, did you text? Like people, our audience gets real caught up in
What exactly
the
to do.
details.
So we do a lot online, and I had to make that decision because for me personally, I have a back injury. I had some car accidents that kind of put me in a situation where I knew I had to do a little bit more online even before all this hit. And so I have a thriving customer group. And so we've been doing weekly continuing education classes for years. I mean, like easy 2 years now. And so what I chose to do was, after every continuing education class, I literally was honest and said, I've been keeping a secret from you.
Wow.
I have not told you how much this business has blessed my life, and that's not fair. And so if you'll sit with me for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to go over a little bit about how, the doTERRA business and where you might fall. And if you're interested, we'll reconnect. And then I always had on the schedule another like full educational opportunity to deep dive into the business. So I would do like just a little bit of like really genuine, I've been keeping a secret and I'm sorry. And this is what doTERRA, but the business has meant for me and my family. And if you find yourself in a similar situation, I really want to help you.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's good work, Tammy.
Are you proud of me, Coach? That's all I want. All I want is my coach to be proud.
I am. Can I make an observation, then ask you a question to explain?
Absolutely.
I noticed this shift happen for you in this place where you let go of the secret, but also when your time management got sorted.
Yes.
Like it was a pretty distinct, like there was a line that got drawn when you started to feel comfortable with the way you worked and the way you were able to deliver on your promises. I can't ignore from the outside watching that happen what a really quick shift that was for you. So first of all, do you think that's accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And I knew you would say that, otherwise I wouldn't have brought it up out of the blue.
No, Tasha, it was a terrible idea.
Yeah, it was a terrible idea. Your assessment is completely wrong. Please refund everything from the past year.
Exactly.
I just noted, I think that yes, 100%, right? This thought process has shifted. But I feel like there was some shift in your feelings of, I don't know, these are probably not exactly the right words and you'll be able to explain it better, but in your feelings of confidence as a leader or integrity or stability as a leader. Because as soon as you got your schedule sorted, all of this happened at the same time. So would you be able to give your thoughts and perspective around how having actually a stricter schedule created recruiting and team building success and wins?
So I think when my schedule was not as strict, which I resisted that, right? Because I had worked full time and, I didn't necessarily want to be like chained to a desk and, that like 9 to 5 feeling. So I think there was some resistance there. But what happened when I got stricter with my schedule is I actually knew what I should be doing. And I think when you don't have a set schedule and you don't know what you should be doing, so you kind of don't get anything done. And then everything feels overwhelming. That's the way it felt for me. Like, how am I supposed to support my customers and support my team and hold classes and bring people in and recruit people and train people? And right, you just feel like it's all this stuff that doesn't fit anywhere. And now all my stuff fits somewhere. I mean, just for instance, just this morning. So I got a new enrollment this morning. I needed to schedule her a follow-up call. I also had literally somebody on the team message me and say, I'm ready to re-engage. I listened to your business webinar. I had sent a replay because she couldn't be on in person. I'm ready to re-engage. This is where I want to come in. How can I best get started? So I knew both of those people needed to schedule appointments with me.
Right.
Well, I've kind of gone to the online thing, right? And I have my schedule set up. So I was able to send them the link for both of their needs, right? They both booked on my schedule literally within 10 minutes of that conversation.
That's awesome.
They're on my schedule. They're done. I don't have to think about, oh no, I got to follow up with that person. I got to set this appointment. I can't let them fall through the cracks. Where is this person in process? Like,
Right.
and I know where they fit. And I know they're on the days that I work. Like, because I already have that all mapped out, that they're in my appointment time. It's not going to conflict with family. It's not going to conflict with my summer, the days off and the fun things that I want to do. And I know what I'm going to be doing that day. So like everybody wins.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. So what was you mentioned I didn't want to do a strict schedule. I didn't want to do any of that. Can you
Don't tell me what to do. It's my life. Sorry.
Yeah. So what was your schedule like? Or quote schedule in quotes? Because I think that this part of it is really relatable. And so I know you mentioned, I didn't have what I have now, but could you help paint a picture for what it was like, and then maybe paint a picture for what is it like now? Because I think people listening, if they start with sorting their schedule and their commitments to themselves, their confidence as a leader is going to increase, which then you don't feel like a chump inviting people to follow you because you kind of sort of have your crap together.
I totally feel like I have my stuff together in a way I didn't. I mean, I always kind of had my stuff together, but this is a whole new level of together. And I know I've shared with you, it's the process of becoming a CEO, and I laugh, I'm taking vacation next week, actually vacation. It's marked off on my schedule. And I tell my team, my CEO told me I need to take a week vacation. So I'm, and they're all very proud of me. They're like, good, you need that time. I'm so glad you're doing that. So my schedule before. So can I explain one thing real quick?
Of course.
I think I did this better in a lot of ways when I worked full time, because I had such limited time that I had to just be very focused on the time that I was off and wasn't doing something with my family, like what I had said I was going to do for the business. So then there was this weird time of stepping away from my full-time job into full-time entrepreneurship, where I just kind of had all this time. So it felt like nothing really felt urgent. Like I could do it tomorrow. I didn't want to I was so scheduled when I was working full-time and building a business that it was kind of that, I took a deep breath, but I took a deep breath for way too long, almost to laziness, because I just there didn't need to be a schedule. So I would just fit things in, if somebody was like, hey, I had to schedule this appointment and they were like, this is the only time that works for me. I was like, sure. But it wasn't good for me because I didn't know. And then I was trying to fit everything else in between. The lack of structure made me feel really lethargic.
Right.
Does that make sense? I don't,
yeah.
Right? Literally the lack of structure. And I don't know, it doesn't need to be super structured, every minute, but the lack of structure just made me feel, and I'm an activator. Activator is my fourth strength or something. So the fact I think that I wasn't activating enough with what I need to do next, that it just really lent itself to this kind of, everything got done, but not great, and not, because it was kind of and that was sort of the way I think the energy I was giving off with my team, and I wasn't super in it. I feel focused. My schedule has now helped me to focus, but not feel the overwhelm of what's going to get left undone.
Right.
Is that clear?
No, I think that is so relatable. So can you paint a picture for what your days look like now?
Oh my gosh, I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Can you give us some detail Like
Yeah,
on,
like I got up this morning. I mean, we knew it was BOGOs, right? So I had to kind of adjust. So I like moved the social media content block that I have. I moved it up earlier in the morning because I knew I needed to get some stuff together. And, but then I had a vet appointment for my dog. But guess what? It was scheduled. I didn't have to be like on my phone as I'm
right.
sitting in the parking lot with my dog, but whatever. And then I knew I had this. And now this afternoon, I know I have open project time because I have some stuff I want to get done before vacation. So I am like, and I know tomorrow's an appointment day and I already have appointments scheduled tomorrow. So I'm not feeling like I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And that feeling of constantly like, oh, when am I going to talk to this person? And should I make these calls now? Should I do it later? I'm like, no, tomorrow's the day I make calls. Tomorrow's the day I send an email. Tomorrow's the day I follow up. Like it's already scheduled. So I don't have to keep it in my brain to remember the things that I have to do. And I will say too, the two things that have been brilliant that you've taught me about my schedule is every day the brain dump to-do list. Like, because when you're working, you just think of all the other things you should be doing. And so having like a working document where I just dump it, it's all there, it's going to get done. That has been brilliant. And the once a week calibrating the following week has been so helpful, because then I can look and see what's going on, like with my family, if something's come up, and I can just adjust. And so I was able to adjust for BOGOs. Like last week, I was like, okay, BOGOs are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I need to adjust some stuff. Let me move these blocks. So I don't wake up anxious. I don't wake up thinking of what I might have forgotten.
Right. Well, and I think it takes away this feeling of I'm a victim to what's happening around me. Like, how could I be productive? I had to take the dog to the vet. How could I do my social media content? There's a promo. These things are impossible. Tasha asked me to be on the podcast. So obviously there's no way I'm going to reach my goals this week.
Right. The day is done. I did a podcast interview. It's over.
Right. And you took the dog.
And I mean, yes.
So, yeah. I mean, you might as well, like, it's impossible for you to be able to reach your goals. And I think that's what we fall into, where flexibility is really, really bad for us. And a couple things that I've noticed that have been really good for you is this idea that you can't delete a block, you can only move it.
Yes.
And flipping them to green as soon as you complete them.
Huge. It is such a, like, I get an endorphin rush. It is like, I hit that green and I'm like, yes, I'm awesome. And you told me all I needed to do was 70%. And I don't know, how long have I been doing this? Is this maybe the third or
fourth week? Yeah.
Yeah. Third or fourth week, like not a long time. And almost every week is 100% green. I have like a couple reds, but it was like my day off yesterday because I didn't really take a day off. But that was a choice I made because I wanted to upload some stuff since I'm taking vacation next week. Like I'm fine with that. It was a choice. It wasn't you have to do.
So that attitude, right? Like I did 100% of the things I said I was going to do. Like, just kind of as we wrap up here, how does that impact recruiting? I think they're just like
I can lead people. It's like that bottleneck that you talk about. Like, oh my gosh, they said yes. What do I do now? Like at least for most skills, I feel like I can teach people how to do this with confidence because I'm doing it myself. It's not that imposter. Like, well, you should time block, but
yeah,
I don't really do that. Right. And you should do this, but I don't really do that. And even recruiting, like you should be telling people about the business, but then there I was not telling people about it.
Well, the first person we have to lead is ourselves. I heard something super deep about leadership and commitments to ourselves. So a lot of people this was a few years ago, and what you just said made me think of it. A lot of people will serve others before themselves, right? So they'll say, well, I need to work out today. But then, their husband will be like, I need you to do this thing. And they think that's leadership. And what happens, what I heard psychologically is it starts to erode your trust in yourself. So like you write down a thing that you say you're going to do, you start not doing it. Now you're still doing stuff and you're still in theory, leading other people. But what happens is you stop trusting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the way this impacts leadership is, even though you might be serving all the time, once you lose trust in yourself, it raises this existential question that's in our subconscious that is, if I can't trust myself, how will they trust me? Or even from their perspective, they don't even know what it is. They couldn't put their finger on it, but they're like, for some reason, I don't trust this person. And it's all born out of, I don't trust myself. Therefore, I am not trustworthy. But when you think of leadership, trustworthiness is critical. And I'm not talking about perfection, right? That's why, like, I advocated for 70, 80% of following through on your commitments, because none of us are perfect. We'll bite off more than we can chew. And we need to allow ourselves space to say, hey, you know what? I thought I was going to be able to record this podcast and turn it on Friday, but I didn't like what I wrote. I wanted an interview and said, sorry, boss, you're not getting it till Monday night. And even though it goes live on Wednesday, and I know my deadline is Friday, but this time I'm not going to make it. But here's my communication on it. I do think, to me, I'm not fulfilling on my commitment. That was, just kind of working with what was going on. So I do think there's some grace in there, which is why, I advocate for a little bit of a percentage of leeway. But I just feel like that is a really important insight, not to go to full perfection, not to beat yourself up, but to just be like, you know what, I'm going to follow through on the commitments I make to myself, because that is going to change your focus, your confidence, your self-esteem, which is going to impact when you invite someone. You need to believe that the party you're inviting them to is worth coming to. You can't be like, this party's going to stink and I'm a terrible host. If you want to come.
Yeah.
You need to say, I don't have a lot for you, but I do have smiles, and right, we're going to have and good music, and we're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that's what that made me think of. Any last thoughts that you have of encouragement when it comes to team building for the folks that are watching or listening to this?
I think that people need you. Like, we all need to be our best, because there are people in the world that need us. It's not everybody. So you have to get used to the no's. You have to get used to things not working out. But when you can really step into what makes you, and then you find the people that need you in their life. And there is nothing better than that. There is nothing better than that, from a recruiting standpoint, from a sales standpoint, from just being a friend standpoint. Like, there is nothing better than that, than finding those people that really need you, but if you're not true to yourself, like, they can't really connect with you on that level. So I'm just so grateful that this is another thing that I've learned, it's an ever evolving process.
I love that. And since I'm behind the gun on my deadlines and I can't edit this, I'm going to ask for a shameless plug right now.
Okay.
So we have so this is the time of the podcast where I would do a little promo. Here's the Emerge Search. Here's the plug. Obviously, I'm running out of editing time. So what I'm going to ask you is, what do you think about our membership, the Emerge Search?
Best value on the planet. Like, I started with you before, so I bought, all the different courses and stuff. The fact that you've got all of your course brilliance in one place for one low monthly payment.
See, you do a better job than me.
Honest to God, is absolutely brilliant. And I wish that I had been able to sign up, like, that you had it way back when, and I tell all my team, I'm like, everything is there. Like, just go do it. It's like so inexpensive and so much gold. And what's great for me is, even though I've taken all the courses, having it's almost like a library. So I can go back and be like, wait, I need to re-listen to that, like, one training that you did, on this particular piece of the script, or, have I gotten off course with that? Like, I need to revisit that and kind of really, drill into some skills that I've used for a long time. And so it's all there. Like you don't have to, I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's really awesome. And I think people are dumb if they don't do it.
Thank you.
I can
Well,
say that.
you are my muse for the time management course, just so you know.
Oh, good.
So when I saw what happened with your confidence, is when I started recording the newest version. So if this was helpful for you guys, and you're like, okay, how do I get the words right? Then that'll be in the recruiting section. But what's this like? How do I go through this time management process? That like I want that, I need that. Then that's going to be released August 1st. To members, and then August 5th we'll have a 3-day period for non-members if they just want to buy it outright. So yeah, I don't know if I had told you that.
No, I knew you were working on it. I didn't know when it was.
But I didn't know if I told you that I built it. I built it for you.
Can we call it the Cami class? I mean, I feel like,
no,
no.
I do not think marketing will approve of that. But if you guys want to join the Surge to get that time management course and also some of the recruiting processes that Cami is talking about, you can go to emergesalestraining.com/emergesurge. It's only $47 a month.
I can't believe it's still just $47 a month, Tasha.
Yeah, I want to raise it next year.
It's worth way more than that.
But I also want to make sure it's accessible to the people that need it the most. Mm-hmm. So we have some good stuff coming up in the future. We're going to do a full course on customer groups. Awesome. That'll be released in October is the current schedule. September's we're going to do live workshop on vision during COVID, nice. Leadership vision. Mm-hmm. November's workshop is business 101. And so we have all that is lined up for everyone in the future.
It's awesome. Love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your encouragement words, your wise words, your relatability. The community appreciates you very much. And thank you.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.